Welcome to the Thompson Sports Complex,
where the Lincoln Trojans are taking on the St. Mary's Rams.
Here on Comcast.
SJTV, bring it on.
It's already been brought.
Lincoln and St. Mary's, the best rivalry in the area. Even the cheerleaders don't like one another, and at the end of the night, one of these two teams is going to be 1-3. We are underway from the Thompson Sports Complex. Eric Alves with you on Comcast, SJTV Sports. Alan Flemons on the return from the 10 for Lincoln. Flemons near the 40 before he's caught from behind by Chris Wilson. A return up to the 39 of 29 yards, and so the Lincoln offense will come out. They have two sophomores in the backfield, the quarterback Rob Post and the fullback Demarie Nelson. Curtis Shaw, the tailback, though, is a good one too. 200-yard games already this season for Lincoln. Lincoln comes in at 1-2. St. Mary's 1-2 as well. The two losses for Lincoln against teams who are 6-0. On first down, it is the sophomore Demarie Nelson. Nice run, and that's a first down for Lincoln. Up to the 50 or just near it. A gain of 11 for Nelson, a guy that head coach Jim Rubiales says we really need to get the ball into his hands. The rest of the guys for Lincoln on offense, the wings and the split in, it's Kevin Breaker at a wing. The receiver is Anthony Dials, the tight end Stuart Burnett. And we'll get you the O-line, Meyer, Colombini, Viella, Ortiz, and Zendejas. 1st and 10 near midfield for Lincoln. It is Curtis Shaw this time, and Shaw is brought down after a short gain. Tackled there by Rocky Jimenez, and Shaw able to get about 2. The defense for St. Mary's up front, the tackles are Nisby and Jimenez. The ends are Matt Moore and Junior Fagbamila. The backers in the middle, it's Sam Maffey, and then Poyer and Brum. The outside backers, the secondary, Wilson and Cozina are the corners. The safeties, Jim Rigby and Capraviza. 2nd and 8, Lincoln already on St. Mary's side of the field. It's Nelson, the fullback, again fighting for some yardage, but not able to pick up much. Fagbamila. Also Moore, an official's timeout here, says our referee David Hirsch, as there's a downed Trojan. Nelson just got a couple, and it's Miles Colombini. There's the officiating crew, David Hirsch, whom we'll hear from tonight, J.D. Heinrich, Tony Baclareza, Chip Jones, and Glenn Stubblefield. And so Colombini has to go to the sideline for a moment on what will be a 3rd and a long 6. 3rd and a long 6 awaiting the Trojans. This is a non-league matchup for the 2nd year in a row. Of course, longtime rivals in the SJAA. Lincoln still a member of the San Joaquin Athletic Association. St. Mary's, though, now in the TCAL. 3rd and a long 6. Play action by Rob Post. And the flats is complete to Demarie Nelson. A first down. Nelson stays in bounds inside the 25 to the 24. A pickup of 23. So a sophomore to a sophomore there. Rob Post to Demarie Nelson. And Lincoln certainly has struggled throwing the ball, trying to replace Nick Rule, the senior quarterback from a year ago. Danny Enright and Rob Post have taken turns this year for the Trojans. That was the play by Nelson. Had the first down, the catch, and then turns it upfield for a good 10 or 15 yards more. But Post coming in 4 of 19 through the air. Danny Enright only 2 of 9. It's a misdirection, and it'll be Demarie Nelson pinballed around to about the 20, right around 5. So Lincoln almost exclusively going with the sophomore Nelson. And of course, we'll see plenty of Curtis Shaw. Shaw comes in with better than 500 yards on the ground. Last week, in fact, Shaw went for over 200, the first time Lincoln has lost when he's gone over 100 yards in his varsity career. 9-1 now when Shaw goes over 100. 2nd and 5 from the 20 as the Trojans are on the move. It's Curtis Shaw this time. He'll be close to a first down, but appears to be a bit short. Adam Poyer. Also Fagbamila. There is Curtis Shaw. What a career he's had as a varsity player at Lincoln. 2,181 yards, 28 touchdowns. Last year he had 4 200-yard games. This year already 2, and Shaw is 2 yards shy of the first down, so it is 3rd and a short 2. Alex Zendejas trying to get the head wear back on. And so Rob Post looking at the wristband. As I mentioned, 4 for 19 coming in, but did complete that 3rd down pass to Demarie Nelson to pick up the 1st down and continue this drive. 3rd and 2 at the 17. We have movement and flags. We'll get the first call of the night from David Hirsch.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
So Lincoln on a 3rd and 2. The false start makes it 3rd and 7, and it's a very young squad. In fact, 36 juniors and sophomores, just 2 sophomores, 34 juniors, of the 56 total players for the Trojans. 3rd and 7 at the 22. Play action by Post. Steps up, has an open receiver. It's taken in, let's see, just shy of the goal line it appears. Heck of a catch over there by Anthony Dials. Stuart Burnett was the underneath receiver. Post went deep to Dials, who is the top receiver. Lincoln has completed just 6 passes coming into this game. Dials had 5 of those receptions. Nice job by Post to fill the pressure and step up. And you see put good loft underneath it. And it was Dials there at the 1. And it's 1st and goal for the Trojans from there. Nelson doesn't get in. But Rob Post, the sophomore, looking good in the early going. His father, who played in the NFL for a season. His brother Tyler, an assistant for Lincoln, a former quarterback at Lincoln as well, and then went on to play collegiately at Fresno State and ASU. 2nd and goal, quite an opening drive by the young Trojans. It's Shaw, and he's hit in the backfield. Sam Maffey, the Mike backer, read that beautifully, and that's a loss of 5 or 6. Nicely done by Maffey, who's 4th on the team in tackles. Played on the varsity a year ago as a sophomore when he had 71 tackles, 8th and went for losses. That one did as well right there. So it is going to be 3rd and goal with the ball back near the 7. And of course, the Rams would feel great if they can hold Lincoln potentially to a field goal here. And you would think the Trojans are going to have to go to the air. And Post has looked good here on the opening drive. 3rd and goal at the 7. Rob Post rolling to the right. Nearly picked off by Pat Jimmerigby. Demarie Nelson was open, but Jimmerigby cut in front, the strong safety, who had a pick last week in the loss to St. Francis. And it looks like Lincoln's going to have to settle maybe for a field goal try. You see Nelson was open just beyond Jimmerigby with those long arms, though. Also a basketball standout. Jimmerigby able to get in the way and almost picked it off. So here is Post to try the field goal. A 24-yarder. 1 for 2 on the season. High snap. Dials puts it down, and it is good. So the 24-yard field goal puts Lincoln on top. 3-0 with 6:58 to play in the opening quarter. Nice drive, though, by the Trojans. Nearly 5 minutes of time elapsed. They started out the 39, completed that 3rd down pass to Demarie Nelson. And then also the 21-yard pass play to Dials. They got it within about a yard of the goal line, but then Demarie Nelson went for nothing. Shaw was hit in the backfield for a loss of 6 by Maffey. The incompletion that was nearly picked by Jimmerigby. So the St. Mary's defense got rigid there near the goal line, and they do a nice job. But certainly I would think some confidence for that Lincoln offense to be able to move the ball down the field. Many expect a lot of points to be scored in this one. St. Mary's averaging better than 400 yards of offense, but about 23 points per game. Lincoln averaging 30 points per game, but it skewed just a bit. They had 42 in the opener against Fairfield, 22 against Franklin of Elk Grove in a loss, and then 28 last week against Sheldon, the game that they led early. Led big, in fact, but eventually lost by 3. So Post to kick off. Sorrell and Wilson, the deep men for St. Mary's in the home green and whites. It's Sorrell at about the 11. Jerome Sorrell near the 30 before he's brought down. Dominique Kelly, also Ben Lewis there on special teams for Lincoln, and the offense for St. Mary's, no fullback, no tight end. It's Murdaka, Martin, and Brum. Brum a slot. The other slot for St. Mary's is Sorrell. The wideouts are Asiji and Jimmer Rigby. At the 30, 1st and 10 for the Rams, coming off the heartbreaker when Robert Inquist returned a pick 84 yards on the final play of the game a week ago. So Chris Wilson starts in the backfield, and Wilson's not going to get back to the line of scrimmage. Nice job by the Trojan defense. Among those there, Tim Guerrero, the only returning defensive lineman with experience. The rest of the offense for St. Mary's, the O-line, Gillies, Yucatan, Rooney, a returning starter, Murray and Nisby, a 3-year starter. So it's 2nd and 11 after the loss of 1 by Wilson. Wilson, a nice compliment to Doug Martin in the backfield, and now Martin lines up next to Pete Murdaka. While Chris Wilson was the motion man, the intended receiver passed a little tall. It falls incomplete. Marcus Jose in coverage for Lincoln. The Lincoln defense, the defensive linemen, the nose guard is Francisco Rodriguez, Kamaya Peely, and Guerrero, the tackles. The rush end is the sophomore Demarie Nelson. The linebackers, Cox is in the middle, flanked by Stuckey and Kelly. And in the secondary, it's Flemons and Breaker as the corners, and Curley and Jose are the safeties. 3rd and 11 after the incompletion. Murdaka threw 39 passes last week in the loss to St. Francis. 11 more than Lincoln's thrown for the season. Brum, a few yards shy of the first down, tried to turn it upfield, and is going to be about a yard shy. Got 10, needed 11, did Joe Brum. Brum last week had 3 receptions for 37 yards after he only had 1 reception the first 2 games of the season. A year ago, he had 26, which was 2nd on the team. And while it's just 4th and 1, it's rough to go for it on your own 40 so early in the game. And Nick Copraviza comes out, and it looks like he will try and punt it away. Marcus Jose going back deep for Lincoln, more than halfway through the first quarter of play. Jose on a bounce at the 14 near the sideline, does a nice job just to get 6 or 7 yards, and then he's bumped down hard by Joe Brum. The return, though, to the 21, and that's where Lincoln will have it for a second time, leading 3-0. You look at St. Mary's last week, they were up 14-0 on St. Francis, but after they were up 14-0, the rest of their possessions in the first half went punt, fumble, punt, and then you go into the second half when they couldn't muster any points either. 2 fumbles, a missed field goal, 2 3-and-outs, and an interception by Inquist that was returned for the game-winning score on the final play of the game. So certainly the offense bogged down after they jumped onto St. Francis, one of the top teams in the Bay Area, and certainly one of the top teams as far as the medium school potential state title game. 1st and 10 for Lincoln, and Post out of the shotgun hands it to Curtis Shaw. Shaw gets 2.5 or so, 2nd and 8. So Shaw, the offensive player of the year, the offensive back of the year last year in the SJAA. A season ago, 1,653 yards and 22 touchdowns as a junior. Post firing to Dials. It goes off his hands. It was nearly picked by Nick Copraviza. So Post completed his first 2 passes. The last 2 have nearly been picked. Jimmer Rigby first. And then right there, there's Curtis Shaw. Those are his career numbers last year and this year. 6 200-yard games. You see better than 2,000 yards in his career. The average 8.0. and 28 touchdowns. Later on, we'll show you some of the numbers of the great backs at Lincoln and at St. Mary's as well. 2 for 4 for Rob Post, 44 yards. Last week, Lincoln did not complete a pass between Enright and Post. On 3rd and 8, Rocky Jimenez sacks Post all the way back at the 14. That's close to a 10-yard loss, and will bring up 4th down. So it's Jimenez, the 5'8", 255 senior. Nicely done there for St. Mary's on defense. And Lincoln will have to punt for the first time. These two teams have been in the last 6 section semifinals, the game prior to the section championship game. St. Mary's in the last 3, Lincoln in the 3 prior to that. Clearly the 2 best programs over the last decade or so in this area. The punt will roll out at the 46. So very good field position for St. Mary's as they start on Lincoln's side of the field, trailing by 3 here at the Thompson Sports Complex on the St. Mary's High School campus. A year ago, as you look at Jim Rubiales in the middle there, flanked by assistant coaches Larry Hintz and Jim Hall. Those 3 have been together for quite some time, including winning a section title in 2000. Murdaka on the keeper, tackled by DeWitt Stuckey. Murdaka across the 45 to about the 43. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7 upcoming. Coach Rubiales, his 10th year as the head coach, but his first year in his return. He was the head man from 86 through 94. Then stepped down for a while, coached some of the lower levels, came back as a defensive coordinator in 97, helped Mike Johnson win that section title in 2000. Is back as the head man. Murdaka's pass is incomplete, looking for Sorrell, but there are flags. Alan Flemons in coverage. Most likely pass interference upcoming.
Defensive pass interference. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
And so a 15-yard penalty. As I was saying earlier, Lincoln a winner a year ago, 55-21. They had 42 points at the half. But St. Mary's a very young team a year ago. Now Lincoln's the young team. 1st and 10 near the 27. Chris Wilson turning the corner. Wilson diving inside the 15 down to the 13. A gain of 15 before he is stopped. Wilson and Martin, quite a lethal combination in the backfield. Wilson has scored a touchdown in all 3 St. Mary's games. Came in with 10 rushes for 81 yards. Has rushed twice here tonight. 1st and 10, Rams at the 13 of Lincoln, trying to put some points on the board of their own. Wilson and Martin bump into one another. Then Martin goes over a tackler, diving for the cone. But it looks like they're going to spot him just short. What a crazy play there. The fans love it as well. Wilson and Martin bumped into one another. Somehow, Martin able to keep his feet. And look at his career numbers, almost identical to Curtis Shaw. 19 touchdowns in his career. Last year as a junior, he had 4 200-yard games. So Martin is spotted at the 2 after an 11-yard gain. And it'll be 1st and goal from there. St. Mary's down 3-0, 1st and goal though. And the Rams calling timeout. There was some confusion. I think they were a player short, in fact, and that is the case. Is the case as an 11th Ram comes onto the field. So good idea there to call timeout and not go at it with 10 on the field. 2:36 to play here in the opening quarter. This is the end of the run between Martin and Wilson. Look at that hurdle. Holy cow. And then Martin, he got the pylon, but he was already out. Good call there by the officiating crew. I mentioned the win last year by Lincoln. Let's take a look at the series history between Lincoln and St. Mary's. Many times it's been for the league title. Of course, that was when both teams were in the SJAA. The teams played for the title back in '98. We didn't want to put too many scores on there for you, but they played for the title back in 1998. They also played for the title in '02, '03, and '04. Of course, that is when it was the final regular season game. But you look, Lincoln had that streak from 2000 to 2003. They went to the semifinals all of those years. But Lincoln beat St. Mary's in the regular season in '03, only to lose to them 2 weeks later in the postseason. That's why there's 2 scores from '03. Then St. Mary's also won in '04. We mentioned the score from a year ago. And so the keeper there, and a score by Murdaka. And the Rams are on the board, and they are on top. Murdaka from 2 yards out, his second touchdown of the season. And he will stay on to try the point after to try and get all 7 for the Rams. A drive that started on the Lincoln 46. And the fans are bouncing the stands on the home St. Mary's side. Brum to snap. That kick is no good, just wide to the right. Murdaka, who missed a field goal last week, had only missed 1 point after all season long, but that's his second miss. At one point, coming into this season after his stellar play at the end of the last year and early in this season, he had 33 in a row on point afters, but his second miss of the season. So it is 6-3 in favor of St. Mary's. That drive just taking 1 minute, 17 seconds. Covered 46 yards, and the capper, the touchdown by Pete Murdaka. So St. Mary's is on top. St. Mary's will have a bye next week. Couldn't fill that game in their schedule. There's Phil Goodman, a member of the Stockton Lightning, just to the right. You saw him talking with a Ram player. Of course, an assistant for St. Mary's, Doug Murray, now the head coach for the Stockton Lightning. Lincoln, next week, they get McNair at home. Then we'll see them in 2 weeks. We do not have a game next week. Everybody's going to take the week off here at SJTV. We'll be back in 2 weeks to see Lincoln and Franklin, the opener in the SJAA. Franklin tonight playing Edison in a rivalry game. Of course, many of the rivalry games are tonight in the TCAL and SJAA, outside of West and Tracy, which was the opener. But Franklin gets Nevada Union next week. Nice deep kick there. The return comes from the 2 by Curtis Shaw. Shaw down the sideline. Shaw at midfield, and he runs through the tackle of Capravisa. He's spotted the 45. A heck of a return by Curtis Shaw. 53 yards. So we know that Shaw can do it as a running back. Here he does it on the kick return. Showed some speed there down the sideline, and nice job by Capravisa, the kicker, to stay in the way and keep Shaw from scoring. 1st and 10, Lincoln. They go on the ground here on 1st down. John Solis. Short gain. Just a yard or so, 2nd down and 9. Shaw on 2nd down. Inside the 35. That will be enough for a 1st down. As Shaw gets about 9. Fifth carry for Shaw for 10 yards. Demarie Nelson's had a couple of nice runs in the early going. And there's a whistle, also a flag as well. And 2 carries ago, it looked like it was actually 94. I thought it was 34 Solis. So we'll get that straightened out.
Coach, 79. Okay, we're gonna go 5 yards. Dead ball foul. Encroachment, defense. A 5-yard penalty remains first down.
So it's against St. Mary's. That'll make it a 1st and 5. We appreciate David Hirsch wearing the mic for us. Chance of defense. Here on the St. Mary's stands. Shaw, he'll try the left side, cuts it between the guard and the tackle. Break to the outside now. Ball comes loose, but it goes out of bounds. Tim Kozina popped it out of there. But about a gain of 10 for Shaw. Back-to-back nice runs for him. Kozina's blocked a couple of punts this year for the Rams. The starting corner has a nose for the ball. First and 10 for the Trojans, just inside the 20, down 6-3, final minute of the opening quarter. So pick up a 5 there. Second and 5. I think that's Nelson. He's wearing 94. There's no 94 on the Lincoln roster, and of course Demarie Nelson's been carrying there in the backfield. I wonder if he had to switch his jersey. That's the end of the first quarter. We'll try and get that sorted out. The last run went for about 3, so 3rd and 2. Awaiting Lincoln when we start the second quarter, but it is 6-3. St. Mary's on top. The Rams scored but missed the extra point. As we're through 1 quarter of play here at the Thompson Sports Complex. As always, we want to thank our friends over at Eric's New York Style Pizza for providing pizza to the crew. They are located at 4118 North El Dorado Street in Stockton. Their number is 463-6339, 463-6339. We also want to thank the cheer squads for the opener. They were actually hugging one another before it looked like they were arch enemies. But we're here at the Thompson Sports Complex. You can see the Sprague family field house off in the distance. Ed Sprague, a former Ram, helping to put that together with donations. The baseball team, the wrestling team using that facility, also the new technology building at the front of the school near El Dorado. A lot of great things going on here at St. Mary's. 3rd down and a long 2, maybe even a short 3, awaiting the Trojans. The ball near the 13. It's actually more like 3rd and 3, to be fair. And so we're going to go with Demarie Nelson as 94. I think that is the case. Otherwise, there's a phantom player on the field, maybe. It's Kevin Breaker on a bit of an end around. Breaker has the first down and then some. Ball comes loose, but it's out of bounds. Breaker just shy of the end zone. He gets to the 1, maybe even the half-yard line. A nice pickup there by Breaker on his first carry. He had 2 touchdowns a year ago on that 55-21 win over St. Mary's. So Breaker gets it to the 1, or just inside it, and it's 1st and goal for the Trojans, trying to retake the lead. Here on possession number 3, they went field goal, punt, and knocking on the door right here. It's Nelson. Mafi got to him and maybe drops him for a loss of a yard or so. So Sam Mafi, remember, he hit Curtis Shaw for a loss on the opening drive for Lincoln and probably ended up helping to force the field goal. There is the technology building at the front of the campus. A lot of hard work going into that, but quite a facility. There's the Sprague Family Fieldhouse, just adjacent here to the football field. Post on the keeper on 2nd and goal, and he scores. So each quarterback has a short keeper for a touchdown, and Lincoln retakes the lead. And Rob Post, the sophomore, has gone the distance to this point. It's still very early in the game, and Coach Rubiales early in the week wasn't sure if he would keep alternating the quarterbacks as he's done in the first 3 games, but Post, the sophomore, has started, and he just scored. Now he's on for the point after. Scott's the snapper, Dials to hold. Fagbamila almost blocked it, and that's no good. So each quarterback has scored on a keeper and then missed the point after. So at least it's evening out. And here's the front of the Thompson Sports Complex, the entryway, that was just hours ago. Right now, seeing a lot of points on the board. Already 3 scores, 2 touchdowns, and a field goal, 9-6. Just 59 seconds into quarter number 2. Remember, much of this was set up by the 53-yard kick return by Curtis Shaw. Lincoln started out the St. Mary's 45, so they travel 45 yards in 8 plays. They take up 3 minutes and 22 seconds. So the young Trojans have had 2 out of 3 scoring drives. They're on the road, each team 1 and 2. The loser is going to fall to 1 and 3 after this one, but still probably have something to say about the postseason in their respective league. Post kicks it away, and a booming kick to the back of the end zone. That will be a touchback. Well done there by the sophomore, who does all of the kicking for Lincoln. Already 8 carries in the early going for Lincoln from Demarie Nelson. And switching from that jersey number 2 to 94, so maybe some blood, maybe something got torn. Now there's 2 backs in the backfield. Murdaka will keep though, fake the toss, and he's upended there by Marcus Jose. Murdaka across the 25. Gets about 6, 2nd and 4 upcoming. Mentioned the Rams offense scoring. As you see Murdaka on the move, 28 in the opener against Jesuit, 26 against Central in week 2, and last week just 14, but averaging better than 400 yards of offense per game. The turnovers have been the bugaboo, 5 in both of the losses. Murdaka on 2nd and short. Zach Zanini hauls it in. Zanini turning those legs, loses the ball. Was Lincoln inbounds? They certainly have it, but are they inbounds? And it's still St. Mary's ball, so it was recovered by Lincoln, but I think it was recovered out of bounds. Zanini trying to fight for the extra yardage, and how often do you see it where the ball comes loose? It's on the ground right there. Still a battle for the ball, and it remains in St. Mary's possession. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the 42. Chris Wilson. Wilson ahead of steam. Inside the 35. Wilson to about the 33. A 25-yard pickup. So we talked a lot about Doug Martin and Curtis Shaw, and rightfully so, the outstanding backs for each team. But it's been Demarie Nelson for Lincoln and Chris Wilson for St. Mary's. Wilson, he's just a junior. And pops off a 25-yard gain as neither defense can slow down the offense. St. Mary's out of the gun, which they almost always go out of. This time it's Doug Martin. Martin close to the 30. Short gain there, maybe 3. Kamaya Peely and Stuckey are up after making the tackle, so a pickup of 3 there for Martin. Couple of carries for 14 yards for Doug Martin. DeWitt Stuckey, the second leading tackler for Lincoln. Pass intended for Wilson, it's incomplete. Marcus Jose, the free safety, was over in the vicinity. Nice little sportsmanship there between Jose and Wilson, so it brings up 3rd down and 7. 2 for 4 for Pete Murdaka. Last week against St. Francis, he started out 0 for 3, then had a great stretch where he was 11 for 14, but then back down at 1 for 8, and finished the game with a 3 for 11 stretch. So threw 39 passes last week, did Murdaka, going 18 of 39 for 268. Here facing a 3rd and 7 at the 31. Martin turned and the ball was already there, didn't have a chance to grasp onto it. Marcus Jose, also Kevin Breaker in the area. So it brings up a 4th and 7, and the ball's at the 31. Let's see if the Rams are gonna go for it. Murdaka probably releasing it maybe a split second before he would have liked, and just a little wide there of Doug Martin. Martin preseason all section according to Cal High Sports, as was Murdaka. The Rams highly touted and probably feel like they should have won one or both of their games in the last 2 weeks, but they sit here at 1-2. Going for it on 4th down. Zanini's got a ways to go to pick up the 1st down, makes a move. Zach Zanini looks like he might be short. Zanini brought down by Jose among others. Tried to make a couple of moves, and he's going to be at least a yard short of the 1st down. And so they needed 7. And he got about 6. On downs to the Trojans. Whistle stopped this one. Timeout taken by St. Mary's, their 2nd. Lincoln on top, 9-6. 3 minutes in to quarter number 2. Lincoln went down the field on the opening drive of the game. They got a field goal out of it. Then St. Mary's punted when they got it back. The Rams scored, missed the extra point to go up 6-3. And then Lincoln on their last drive got the touchdown. We talked about the outstanding backs for St. Mary's. I mean, you look down the list, Frank Strong was here as a sophomore and junior, but some of the outstanding backs, Kevin Arbette and Brandon Harper, both playing for 3 years at the varsity level. Arbette, 43 touchdowns. Harper, 36 and better than 4,400 yards. Jeff Johnson recently, nearly 3,000 yards and 29 touchdowns. And you look at the running backs for Lincoln as well. I mean, you go on and on. Tyrone Gross in the mix, better than 4,000 yards as a 3-year starter. Now on the Chargers practice squad. Lewis Rankin now at the University of Washington. 53 touchdowns for him in his career. And Rankin, as a senior, had a 41 touchdown season, which is 5th best all time in the section. And then Billy Smith, the cousin of Lewis Rankin, recently 46 touchdowns in his 2-year varsity career. It's Curtis Shaw. And Shaw, a nice gain on 1st down as he gets to the 33. a pickup of 9. After the Trojans stop on defense and get the ball back in the hands of their offense, which has looked very good tonight. Have the passing game going as well with the running of Shaw and Nelson. And that is enough for the first down. Shaw gets 3 on his now 8th carry of the night, 32 yards. Curtis Shaw last year in the game against St. Mary's, 17 carries, 205 yards, and he scored 3 touchdowns. 1st and 10 for the Trojans, leading 9-6. It's Kevin Breaker, no running room there, well read. There's a flag though. Copper Visa had it wide. Maybe a face mask, we'll wait and see. No, a hold against Lincoln.
Flag right here.
David Hurston, they're discussing it with the Rams.
On the offense, we have a hold. That's a 10-yard penalty. Remains from the spot of the foul, remains first down.
So the spot of the foul infraction will bring it all the way back to the 27, where it's going to be a first down and about 20, maybe even 21. We'll say 1st and 20 though. After the hold against Lincoln, their 3rd penalty. Shaw, nowhere to go. He's driven back, in fact. And it was Fagbamila, junior Fagbamila, the 6'2", 265 senior defensive end. There was all over that play, the 3rd leading tackler for the squad. 2nd team All-TCAL a year ago. That's a loss on the play of 2. 2nd and 22. Curtis Shaw up to 9 carries, 8 by Demarie Nelson. Play action by Post, rolling to the right. Looking deep, has 2 receivers down there. Marcus Jose comes back to get it. Dials was in the area too, but Jose catches it at the 43. There is a flag down though. It would be more than enough for the first down. A gain of 32. Let's see though on the flag. Nice catch by Jose, as was underthrown. Against the Trojans, that's a killer.
We have an illegal formation by the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
It's a 5-yard penalty, but in essence it's a 37-yard penalty because it wipes out the 32-yard pass play to Marcus Jose back at the 20. 2nd down and 27. 2nd and 27. Clock moving, 6:41 to play in the first half. Lincoln on top. And out of the gun for Post. Looking to Jose again, and it's broken up by Pat Jimmer-Rigby. Of course, his brother Ben, a big-time player a year ago. Jose almost had back-to-back spectacular catches, but it goes incomplete. Post displaying a strong arm, and the Trojans kind of rolling him out a little bit, getting him on the move. Jimmer-Rigby, though, had the size advantage there at 6'4". Jim Rubiales, longtime defensive coordinator for Lincoln, now the offensive coordinator in his return as head coach. 3rd and 27 for the Trojans at their own 20. The comeback to Shaw, that's incomplete. It was a forward pass. And so Lincoln going to have to punt. St. Mary's may end up with pretty decent field position. That was a drive that at one point seemed like Lincoln was going to get a move on it, but the formation penalty on the 32-yard pass play, a killer. So Post will stay on and punt. Jerome Sorrell waits for the punt at about midfield. Nice high kick from Rob Post, driving Sorrell back at the 35. He loses it. James Patterson picks it up, and Andrew Cox throws him out of bounds at about the 36. Nice job there by Patterson to cover that ball up as Sorrell was driven back on the punt, lost it. And then St. Mary's still recovers. So St. Mary's has put it on the ground twice tonight, but they've been able to retain possession. Heck of a punt by Post. You're talking about a 46-yarder, maybe even a little more, close to about 44 yards on the punt, and it was all in the air. First and 10 for St. Mary's, down by 3. And this play is blown dead. Both teams a bit stagnant after we got to 9-6 pretty quick. There's Jim Rubiales talking with the referee, David Hirsch. Jim Hall is close as well. Not sure what the deal is. Yeah, there's actually not a flag on the field. There are whistles, certainly, but we'll have to wait and see. Both these head coaches, in fact, Tony Franks for St. Mary's and Jim Rubiales for Lincoln, were previously head coaches and then have come back in their second tour. So no flag, just an explanation. And it looks like we're good. First and 10 for St. Mary's at their 36. Zanini had a foot in about right at the stick. Let's see on the spot. Radaka had good time. You see Nisby blocking there. And it's going to be a yard short. Zanini already his 3rd reception of the night. 3rd for 31. Last week, Zach had 4 for 52. His brother Alex, a former standout here at St. Mary's, now playing baseball at Pacific. Doug Martin running left, doesn't like what he sees. Stuart Burnett giving chase, and Burnett brings him down. Also DeWitt Stuckey there. A flag on the far side of the field. Things getting a little messy right now. And it's a hold against St. Mary's. St. Mary's had some penalty problems in their opener against Jesuit, but that was a win.
We have a hold on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. We play second down.
And then since then, some turnover problems. About midway through quarter number 2, both teams have scored a touchdown. Lincoln also has a field goal. Both missed their extra point. That's why it's 9-6 Trojans. Second down and about 12 for St. Mary's with the ball at the 34.5. Brum, heck of a catch there. Solis in coverage. And good placement by Murdaka as Brum gets up to the 49, close to a 15-yard pickup. Joe Brum also on that basketball team last year for St. Mary's that got to the state championship game, Division III. before falling to Artesia. Pat Jimmerigby on that squad. Joe Harden, who's now at Notre Dame, certainly the key guy on that team. But Mark Payne, another guy who's at UC Davis now. So they've lost some key guys, but also with guys like Brum and Jimmerigby should be pretty good again this year. 1st and 10, Rams at their own 49, trailing by 3. Option, Murdaka tossing to Doug Martin. DeWitt Stuckey is there and others as 3 Trojans take him out. Johnny Curley and Andrew Cox. In fact, those are the top 3 tacklers. Cox, Stuckey, and Curley in order. A pickup of about 4. Some of the St. Mary's fans wanted a late hit. And the helmet also came off of Martin to add insult to injury. DeWitt Stuckey played varsity ball at the end of his freshman campaign. This is his 20th varsity game, and it's early in his junior campaign. The outstanding Will linebacker for Lincoln. 2nd down and 6. Still plenty of time to go in the half. Zanini trying to get upfield. And a nice tackle there by Breaker. In fact, I think he held onto the jersey for dear life because there wasn't any help down the field. Zanini, had he gotten free, might have been running for a while. Picks up 4, does Zach Zanini on his 4th reception of the night for 35 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2. 3rd and 2 upcoming. Nearing 5 minutes to play in the 2nd quarter. Lincoln and St. Mary's. It's a non-league game, but Tony Frank said it matters just the same. Certainly the stands are packed. They're in the 4th week of the season. On 3rd down, Pete Murdoch is going to run with it. Diving for it, Dominique Kelly, the first man to get to Murdoch. And let's see. The officials are spotting it near the 41. And David Hirsch says that's enough for a 1st down. There's Kelly, number 11. He tripped up Murdoch, but then Murdoch diving forward and got the necessary yardage. Not by a lot, but he got it. Murdoch in his 2nd year as the varsity starter. And you look at the run of quarterbacks here at St. Mary's. 4 years ago, Barry Enright and Willie Tuitama splitting time. Then that team got to the section semifinals. The year after that, Willie Tuitama leading the team to the section championship. Murdoch last year got the Rams to the semifinals, and now trying to lead them against Lincoln. In the flats to Brum, sidesteps 1 tackler, and then Brum inside the 30 to about the 27. He'll be close to another St. Mary's 1st down. And so Brum becoming a bigger part of the offense for St. Mary's. Had 3 receptions last week. That's already a couple here tonight. In fact, that's his 3rd tonight as well. And a timeout taken by Lincoln as you see the end of that play. And the officials say that is enough for a 1st down. So Brum got 10. So right now, Murdoch hooking up with both Zach Zanini and Joe Brum. And you look at the receiving core, Jerome Sorrell has the big numbers in the early going. There's Murdoch talking with David Hirsch. 17 for 367 for Sorrell coming in. Brum 4 for 50. Zanini 6 for 107. Brian Asiji, who hasn't caught one tonight, 5 for 74. And Patrick Jimmerigby and Nick Copraviza each with a reception. Plus the backs, Wilson and Martin can catch out of the backfield as well. A lot of weapons for Pete Murdoch. I mean, that was the case a year ago as CG had 16 catches, 20 for Chris Wilson, 25 for Sorrell, 26 for Brum, and then Ben Jimmerigby, who has graduated, had 31. But Ben Jimmerigby, the only skill player that did not return for the Rams, 8 of their 11 starters on offense from last year returned this season. 1st and 10. Martin didn't get very far. Mitchell Kamaya Peely, well done there from the defensive tackle position. Gain of 2 for Martin. Kamaya Peely's had a couple of brothers play at Lincoln, Brett and Kyle. You look at these two schools, the only two schools from the city of Stockton to win a section championship. It was Lincoln in 2000 breaking through, St. Mary's in 04. In fact, other than Tracy, the only SJAA schools to win the title. Trying to set up a screen. Martin with blockers in front of him, but it's well played. Breaker forcing Martin out of bounds after a very short gain. That play looked like it had potential, but only picks up about 2. So we'll say 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6 upcoming. Under 4 minutes to play in the first half. Lincoln on top, 9-6. St. Mary's, though, facing a 3rd down and long. Eric Alves with you on the Comcast SJTV Sports High School Football Game of the Week here in week number 4. We've already seen each of these teams once. Each is lost on our air, and they are the most frequently televised teams in the area because they've been the most successful, quite frankly. 14 of the last 17 SJAA titles between these two, not counting last year. 3rd and 6. Brum, does he hold it? He does. Question number 2, is it enough for the first down? Close to the 17. The officials putting the ball down. We may have a measurement. But Brum is the hot target right now for Pete Murdocca, and they hooked up many times a year ago. That's why it was surprising that Brum only had 1 catch through the first 2 games. But since then, he's already up to 7. And we're having a measurement across the field. As the Ram fans look on. Oh, it's close. It's that short, inches. Inches short. So it is 4th and inches. Maybe an index card or 2. There's the play again. You see Brum right by the sticks. And it's so hard to tell. I mean, heck, where do you spot that? The officials do the best job they can. But how can you possibly know the precise spot where he went out? So just some kind of a push, maybe Murdocca on a keeper following Brendan Rooney, his outstanding center. We'll see, 4th and inches. Final 3:45 of the opening half. Lincoln by 3. Lincoln out of the SJAA, St. Mary's out of the TCAL. Tight formation, Murdocca goes under center. And he keeps, and looks like he got more than enough push. Only needed inches, and he went forward. Any kind of forward progress was going to be enough. And that is signaled a first down for St. Mary's. Murdocca has the Ram touchdown and certainly has good size at 6'2", 210 to go forward. And he followed Rooney and then the guards, Murray and Yucatan. In fact, off the St. Mary's offense, the only guys that graduated were, as we mentioned, Benjamin Rigby, and then on the O-line, Maverick Gonzalez and Skylar Jackson. And Jackson kind of a part-time starter on offense. You can almost say 8.5 return on offense for St. Mary's. 1st and 10 at the 16. Chris Wilson, though, hit in the backfield by Stuart Burnett. A loss of 4, maybe even 5. Nice job by Burnett playing an end there. Also a tight end for Lincoln. Last year primarily played defense. Early this year primarily an offensive player. All-state in baseball a year ago for the Trojans. His mom, Patty Berg, a former standout at Pacific, playing for the Tigers in late 70s, early 80s. 8th highest single season mark in kills in 1980 with 490. So 2nd and 14. Over the middle, Sorrell was wide open, touchdown. Officially from 21 yards out. Not sure how he got that wide open, but for Sorrell, his 4th receiving touchdown of the season. Murdocca has thrown 5, 4 of which obviously have gone to Sorrell. And that's Jerome Sorrell's first reception of the night. He is a big player, and he puts St. Mary's back on top. Looks like they will just attempt the extra point. Still much too early in the game to probably be thinking about 2-point conversions. Brum to snap, McCaffrey to hold. And Murdocca gets this one 13-9, St. Mary's retakes the lead on a 21-yard scoring strike from Pete Murdocca to Jerome Sorrell. Probably not going to have too many much easier than that. Sorrell on a blown coverage was wide open. See the nearest defender about 5 to 6 yards away. A drive that takes 3 minutes and 39 seconds. It covers 64 yards. And the touchdown by Sorrell. Remember the 4th down conversion by Murdocca as well. 12 plays in total. And so St. Mary's, their special teams, heading back on the field. I mentioned 14 of the last 17 titles in the SJAA coming from either Lincoln or St. Mary's. Quite a remarkable number. Lincoln won the title from 88 through 92 when Jim Rubiales was the head coach. 93 through 95 was St. Mary's. 96 and 97 Tokay. 98 St. Mary's. 2000 through 2003 Lincoln. And then 04 St. Mary's, of course, in the last year with St. Mary's in the SJAA. Last year going to the TCAL, and Lincoln still a co-champion a year ago. But that is dominance by those two. Flemons drops the kick at the 9, picks it up. He ran one back for a score against Franklin of Elk Grove, but here it gets across the 26, or across the 25 to the 26, I should say. Lincoln, 2 timeouts remaining, and 2:32 showing on the clock. Down by 4. 2 touchdowns for St. Mary's, a touchdown and a field goal for Lincoln. And Rob Post has gone the distance at quarterback after he and Enright have really split time the first 3 games of the year. Kevin Breaker, just a yard or 2 on that first down carry. Nick Capravisa and also Adam Poyer. Capravisa, a junior, the 2nd leading tackler for the team. Poyer, 5th leading tackler. Breaker got 2. 2nd down and 8. There is Tony Franks. 8 years at St. Mary's, was the head coach from 84 through 86, got the head job as a 26-year-old, and then since 02, you saw his mark. Demarie Nelson, he's driven back by that interior for St. Mary's after maybe a yard gained. Maffey also came up from that middle linebacker position. Looks like Jimenez in there, maybe more as well. 3rd and 7. So not sure what happened to Nelson's jersey, but sporting number 94 now. Less than a minute and a half to go in the first half. Lincoln gonna have to go to the air here, you would think, on 3rd and 7 at the 30. A stop by St. Mary's, they could get the ball back and be in okay shape. Post on the move, fires it, but it goes incomplete. Looking to Mark Scott on the far side of the field. Brum was over there, also looked like Kozina. But that goes incomplete. And so the last 3 passes have fallen incomplete for Rob Post after he was hot in the early going. 2 for his first 4, but 0 for 3 since then. The incompletion stops the clock with 1:12 to go. St. Mary's has 1 timeout remaining. Last time Post had a booming punt. Let's see what he offers here. Nearly blocked. Martin came through. He blocked one earlier this year. Sorrell hit immediately, did a good job to hold on to the ball. And it was Dials, the first man down there. Nice job each way to hold on to the ball and the coverage by Anthony Dials. St. Mary's will have it at the 38. 1 timeout to go, 1:05 on the clock. Their offense certainly is capable of moving the ball up and down the field. And St. Mary's won the coin toss and they deferred, so they'll get the ball to start the second half as well. 6th time we've seen St. Mary's and Lincoln here on SJTV. All the previous games were for the SJA title except for the 2nd game in 03, which was for the right to move on in the playoffs. That was when St. Mary's beat Lincoln after Lincoln beat them in the regular season. A CG right at the marker, and looks like he'll have enough for a St. Mary's first down. Murdaka in a great rhythm and hitting different receivers. He's gone to Sorrell, there to Asiji, and also to Zach Zanini and Joe Brum. Also has thrown it out of the backfield once to Martin, so 5 different receivers. Really the only guy he hasn't hooked up with is maybe Pat Jemmerigby. 1st and 10, just under a minute to go in the first half. Might have been tipped to the line. Sorrell, does he come back to hold it? Nice job, but it appears to be just shy of the first down. Rams have to hurry, don't want to blow that last time out here. It's 2nd and a yard. Under 40 seconds. That pass is tipped. Flemings was close to picking it off, but it was tipped to the line, so it stops the clock. Sixteenth pass attempt by Murdaka here in the first half. He threw 39 times last week against St. Francis, 36 the week before against Central, heading in that direction again in this high-risk St. Mary's offense. 3rd and short. Martin gets it. That'll stop the clock momentarily. Oh, check that. That's Chris Wilson, I beg your pardon, 21, not 22. And so Wilson gets 3 or 4. And the clock is wound again, under 30 seconds. Now the Rams are huddling. They got to hurry and get to the line. Down to 25 seconds. Line of scrimmage is the 39. Murdaka has a good leg, so could try the field goal. Looking to Sorrell, well long. In fact, it's out of bounds. Curley was coming up to maybe lay the hit on Sorrell. And down to just 15 and 2/10 seconds. On the 17th pass attempt of the first half by Pete Murdaka. So maybe 2 more plays and possibly a field goal. St. Mary still has that timeout remaining. Murdaka made a 35-yarder against Central, but to be in that range, Rams are looking at least 20 more yards. Timeout here taken by Lincoln. And Reggie Camp out to talk with the defense. Former Cleveland Brown, was on those teams that lost to the Broncos and John Elway, including the drive and then the fumble by Ernest Biner. Also had a 14-sack season in '84 playing for Cleveland. So you look at the NFL connections, you got Reggie Camp. As you look at our game of the week schedule, next week, no game for us, going to take it off, but then we'll see Franklin and Lincoln in 2 weeks. The Manteca schools were crushed about Manteca and Oakdale potentially there on the 20th. We'll wait and see about that. We'll see Tracy and Lodi Stagg, and then hopefully St. Mary's and West on back-to-back days. But you look at the NFL connections, of course, Peter Morelli, the principal here at St. Mary's, is an NFL referee. Frank Strong, a former player at St. Mary's. Wendell Hayes, they played in the NFL ever so briefly. Shante Carver, a former Lincoln Trojan. Then we mentioned Bob Post, the father of Rob Post. Willie Tuitama, the former quarterback here at St. Mary's, nephew of Junior Seau, cousin to Marcus Tuiasosopo. Even Franklin Smith, who was an offensive lineman last year for Lincoln, his father was the chaplain for the 49ers. And you can't forget the MLB connection with Ed Sprague, the former Ram, and then J.P. Nisby's dad, John Nisby, back in the NFL as well, playing for the Redskins and Steelers. 2nd and 10. Murdaka with time over the middle, almost picked off by John Solis, looking for Brum. 3rd straight incompletion by Murdaka after he was really rolling, and Solis wants that one back. So 9.7 seconds now for St. Mary's, probably just 1 more play. If they get enough, a field goal. If not, 1 more play and then possibly a Hail Mary after that. So you're looking at probably trying to pick up about 15 or 16 yards here if you can to set up a potential field goal by Murdaka, or get 10 and then try and throw it to the end zone on the final play of the half. 3rd and 10, Rams up 13-9. That's almost intercepted and then almost caught. It went through the hands of Stuckey, then Brum couldn't hold it. And we're down to 3.6 seconds, so it's probably going to have to be a throw to the end zone with the line of scrimmage to the 39, and it's also now 4th down as well. Murdaka, he wanted somebody to get open. He knew that time was ticking. A little behind Stuckey, and then it bounced off him, and Brum almost got it on the deflection. And Lincoln will take their final timeout. They want to make sure that they have the proper defensive alignment. Got to make sure a safety's back pretty deep. And so if you look at the schedules of these two teams, first for St. Mary's as they come in at 1-2, opened up here at home against Jesuit. In fact, this is the 3rd home game out of 4 for St. Mary's. After Jesuit, they went to Central Catholic. That was on a Saturday. Lost there after it was tied in the 4th quarter, 40-26. It was tied at 26. Last week we saw it here on SJTV, 20-14, a loss to St. Francis, a game that they once led 14-0. Here tonight against Lincoln, no game next week. Their homecoming against Stag in 2 weeks, then 3 straight road games in TCAL play. The Stag game's also TCAL play. And then last year against West, it was for the TCAL title. Maybe that'll be the case this year. For Lincoln, they are also 1-2. Blew out Fairfield, then they lost to 2 teams that are now 3-0. Here tonight against St. Mary's, they get McNair next week at home, and then a big one in the opening game of SJAA play against Franklin, a game that you can see here on Comcast SJTV. 4th down and 10. 3.6 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter. Most likely, barring a penalty, will be the final play of the 1st half. Marcus Jose about 25 yards downfield, the deepest man for Lincoln. Murdaka under some pressure. He's going to have to let it go. Looking deep to a CG. There's a flag. A CG has it for an apparent score, but let's wait and see on the flag. Lincoln saying no, it's a push-off. And that's what David Hirsch signals as well. Murdaka was flushed. He let it go, and the CG went up to get it, but apparently pushed off first.
We have offensive pass interference. The ball was caught in the end zone. The penalty is accepted, so we must have an untimed down to finish the half. There'll be 1 untimed down after a 15-yard penalty.
Great explanation by David Hirsch. You can't end the half on an accepted penalty. So even though it went against St. Mary's, they still get another play because, of course, Lincoln has to accept it, otherwise it's a touchdown. The ball will be put back at the 46 for St. Mary's, their own, and going to make it a deeper pass there for Murdaka. But as CG called for the push-off, that's what Lincoln immediately signaled. So an untimed down, the final one of the 1st half. Murdaka looking to Sorrell. Sorrell catches it at the 20, but that's how the half will end. A 34-yard gain, but it's 4-0. The touchdown taken off the board on the offensive interference by Bryant Asiji. And we head to the locker room. 13-6, St. Mary's on top. The Rams scoring twice, missed an extra point. Lincoln 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. They also missed the extra point. 13-6, St. Mary's on top. The Rams also will get the ball to start half number 2. Back with the start of that half right after this as you watch high school football here on Comcast SJTV Sports. As coverage of all the local TCAL, SJAA, and BOL teams all season long. Hop on for the ride to the section championship. Join us in 2 weeks as Lincoln hosts Franklin. Watch Comcast SJTV Channel 26 all weekend starting on Friday night at 10:30 as the Yellow Jackets take on the Trojans from Spanos Stadium. About set to start the second half here at the Thompson Sports Complex. A good first half. Lincoln scoring first, and St. Mary's taking the lead. Lincoln retaking the lead, and St. Mary's ending the half in the lead at 13-9. Rams scored a touchdown on the final play, what appeared to be the final play of the half. Brian Asigi, but he was called for the push off. Then we had an untimed down as the half cannot end on an accepted penalty. So St. Mary's, and that pass was completed but in the field of play, and that ended the first half. As we look at the first half statistics, total offense for St. Mary's better than 200 again. They average better than 400, so no surprise there. Pete Murdoka threw 20 passes in the first half, completed 13 for 152 yards. The rushing yards pretty even there. Total offense, you see 114 there for Lincoln, 220 for St. Mary's, as I mentioned earlier. 4 penalties against the Trojans and 3 against the Rams. St. Mary's fumbled twice, but was able to recover one, the other one out of bounds. They also turned it over once on downs. And so we stand at 13-9 in favor of the Rams, and St. Mary's will get it first to start the second half as well. The scoring went a field goal by Post, 3-0 Lincoln. 1-yard keeper by Murdoka, 6-3. St. Mary's missed the point after. Keeper by Post, 9-6 Lincoln. They missed the point after. And then Sorrell, a 21-yard touchdown reception from Murdoka to make it 13-9. The return from the 10 by Jerome Sorrell as we're underway here in the second half. It is Lewis on the special teams play as St. Mary's will come out on offense to start half number 2. And we get confirmation as well that what we suspected is the case. Demarie Nelson going from number 2 to number 94, as it was torn. And the clock right now, they put it at 10 minutes. It needs to be at 12. That's why there's a holdup here. 12-minute quarters, not 10, and so they're going to fix it. There it is. And so we'll be about ready to go with possession for St. Mary's at their own 27, 11:55, just 5 seconds into our second half. And there is Pete Murdoka, 13 of 20 in the first half. Also had a touchdown on the ground and threw for one. That went to Sorrell. Sorrell, 3 catches for 64, 4 catches each by Brum and Zach Zanini. Asigi had a reception, as did Doug Martin. Asigi incomplete. Alan Flemings in coverage. Little slant there that falls incomplete. That's 5 out of 6 passes now by Murdoka that have fallen incomplete. So at one point, 12 for 15. Right now sits at 13 for 21 in the ball game, and he may hit 40 attempts. He had 39 last week in the loss to St. Francis. Chris Wilson takes the handoff out of the shotgun. There is a flag. Wilson making tacklers miss. He's at midfield, changes the ball hand inside the 30. Wilson inside the 20, 10, 5, dives. No signal. Looks like they're going to spot him out the 1, but it was a hold against St. Mary's. It will all come back. Heck of a run, though, by Chris Wilson. There's the flag back near the line of scrimmage. Murdoka talking with the referee, David Hirsch. St. Mary's fans don't like it. Big surprise. Remember, Lincoln had the nice reception by Marcus Jose waved off in the first half. And here, a run by Chris Wilson of 71 yards is waved off. And so the hold going against the Rams, their 4th penalty of the game. And so the ball is going to be put back at the 15, a spot of the foul infraction. And we will call it 2nd down and 22. 2nd and 22. After the holding penalty that is a backbreaker. Murdaka keeping, and he is torpedoed. It's Marcus Jose, who has played so well both the times we've seen him, not only here tonight, but also a couple weeks back against Franklin. Jose last year, a knee injury, otherwise probably would have been a bigger contributor for Mike Barley's squad a season ago. 3rd and 22 facing the Rams here. Actually, Murdaka, what did he end up getting? About 3, I should say. So we're looking at 3rd and 19 to be fair. But still 3rd and long. Sorrell, and he is hammered by Johnny Curley. He was measuring Sorrell earlier in the game. That time got the clean hit in, and that falls to the ground. So Murdaka has missed now on 6 of his last 7. And Sorrell a bit shaken up. I probably would be too after that hit. What a lick, though, by Johnny Curley. Curley's brothers played at Lincoln. JC was on the section championship team in 2000. Also a very good wrestler. And then Bobby playing a few years back. So Sorrell looks like he's okay. Jersey a little disheveled, though. And it's going to be a punting situation for St. Mary's back at the 18. That's the line of scrimmage. Copper Visa on to punt, and Lincoln should end up with very good field position. We'll see on the return. Demarie Nelson at the 37, makes the first man miss. Same for the second, but not the 3rd or 4th. Special teams play made by Jerry Scanoni, his cousin, while we're talking about family, was on the 98 St. Mary's squad that beat Lincoln for the SGA title. That would be Bert Scanoni. So St. Mary's punts to start the half, and Lincoln will have it now with pretty good field position, trailing by 4. Ball at the 43, 1st and 10, and it's still Rob Post, and he completed his first 2 passes of the game, but then 0 for 5 after that. Let's see if Lincoln can get the running game going. The toss to Curtis Shaw. Shaw gets outside. Shaw inside the 40 before he steps out. Actually, they're going to spot him at the 41. So couldn't quite get to the 40, but a nice gain. A pickup of 16, longest run of the night for Curtis Shaw. His 10th carry now for 46 yards. Good balance between he and Nelson. 10 carries for Shaw, 9 for Nelson. We showed you the stat of the great running backs that have come through at Lincoln: Tyrone Gross, Lewis Rankin, Billy Smith, Ramon Glasgow, another guy that wasn't on that list, and Damon Barkley, who played for Coach Rubiales in his first stint. All good ones. This one, Demarie Nelson, could be among the best because he's just a sophomore. There's a flag. But Nelson, one of those backs on his way up for Lincoln. Let's wait and see on the flag. It's against Lincoln. So not a clean start to the half for either team. There's the defensive captain, Joe Brum, talking with David Hirsch. First down and 20. Nelson trying to block for Shaw. Just a few yards there. Across midfield, back onto St. Mary's side of the field for Shaw, but pickup of about 4. Looking at about 2nd and 16. 11th carry by Curtis Shaw. In the opener against Fairfield, had 3 touchdowns, 208 yards. Then we saw him against Franklin of Elk Grove, had a score, but only 79 yards on the ground. Last week against Sheldon, 2 touchdowns, 246 yards. So only had a couple of big runs, but certainly has the ability to do it in a hurry. On second down, Shaw again gets back to the original line of scrimmage and maybe a little more, so he gets 7. It's going to be 3rd down and 9. 12th carry for Shaw as Lincoln's trying to go to work with the running game, and in a close game here, don't necessarily have to go to the air, but they may here as it's a 3rd down and 9. Lincoln last year went 9-2. They lost in the first round of the playoffs to Pittman. Only the 3rd time in the last 9 years they haven't advanced to at least the 2nd round of the playoffs, winning the section title in 2000, losing in the finals in 2002. But 2 losses last year, already 2 this year at 1-2. They face a 3rd down and 9 from the 40 of St. Mary's. Play action by Post. Pass is deflected, and is it held? No, nice effort there by Anthony Dials, but it falls incomplete after it was deflected. And so it appears that Lincoln will punt from here. It's 4th and 9 at the 40. Not going to chance it. Want to try and pin back St. Mary's, it would appear. So Post to punt again. 4th punt of the game. Zanini back to return at the 10. Remember, Sorrell was shaken up on the last offensive series for St. Mary's, trying to coffin corner it. Takes a little bit of a Lincoln bounce there at the end, and looks like they'll be spotted at the 11. So a good exchange of field position from about the 40 to the 11. A 29-yard punt, but of course you're not asking for much more than that in that situation. Each team has had a possession here in the second half. Each has punted once. St. Mary's and Lincoln, only 2 teams from Stockton to win a Division I section title. Lincoln in 2000, St. Mary's in 2004. And these 2 schools have been in the last 6 section semifinals. Lincoln 2000 through 2002, St. Mary's 2003, 2004, and 2005. Cordova, the only school in Division I ever to be in 4 straight semifinals. Doug Martin on the ground. A flag as well after Martin is brought down. Tackler was Stuckey. Holding against St. Mary's. So neither team a very clean start here to half number 2.
We have a hold on the offense. Half a distance to the goal line, remains 1st down.
So the ball back on the 5. St. Mary's has to get to the 21 to pick up a 1st down. 1st and 16. 1st and 16 for the Rams. Really pinned deep here. Doug Martin hit immediately. One of the tacklers is DeWitt Stuckey. The other looks like Andrew Cox, the top 2 tacklers. Martin, no gain there, so 2nd and 16 upcoming. When you look at the tradition at linebacker for Lincoln, they've had so many good ones. Octavio Cruces on that section championship team. Mark Rubalcaba, former defensive player of the year, according to the Stockton record. The same for Reynard Kemp. Matt Seamus, also, so 3 defensive players of the year. David Garcia was in there. Moses Harris, kind of a hybrid, a safety / linebacker as well. 2nd and long for the Rams, deep in their own territory. Murdaka from the end zone, looking deep for Sorrell, trying to run under it. Good coverage there, and also the help from the safety. So Jose came over, but Johnny Curley in coverage. That falls incomplete, and Murdaka has now missed on 7 of his last 8 after he was 12 for 15 at one point in time. Very similar to a week ago when he had an 11 for 14 stretch, but followed it up with a 1 for 8, although that was outstanding coverage. And now it's 3rd and long for the Rams, and if Lincoln can get a stop here, they will be in great shape here early in the 3rd quarter from the Thompson Sports Complex on the St. Mary's High School campus. Fans pretty quiet here early in the second half. Lincoln fans should make some noise right here, though. They might get the ball back. From the 5. Intercepted at the 30. Is Johnny Curley, makes the cut. Curley inside the 10. Nisby and others bring him down at about the 8. But Johnny Curley on the pick, he had the big hit on the last series. He picks it off there. The former first-team All-SJAA a year ago. He was just back there playing center field. The pass was overthrown, and Curley returns it inside the 10 of St. Mary's on the first turnover in the game. The 5th interception by Murdaka, that almost got returned for a touchdown. 3 of the picks he's thrown have been, 2 against Central and 1 last week. Of course, the game winner for St. Francis by Inquist. First and goal from the 8. Curtis Shaw trying to go to work. Nothing doing there. Of course, St. Mary's going to try and key on him. Maffey and Brum gave some support, but Fegba Mila, the first man to get to Shaw, a yard there. Curtis Shaw, 28 touchdowns in his varsity career. Will he get his 29th on this drive and put Lincoln back in the lead as we seesaw back and forth? Second down and goal after the turnover by the Rams. Doug Koresko, the offensive coordinator, was talking with Pete Murdaka on the sideline. Demarie Nelson, just a short gain again. Copper Visa making the play. Nelson to the 4, a pickup of 3. And for Nelson, that was his 10th carry of the night. Early on, he and DeWitt Stuckey really split time at that fullback position, but Nelson, a touchdown last week against Sheldon, also had one against Franklin. Third and goal, maybe it's 4-down territory for Lincoln, who knows? This is from the 4. Backs are split. Toss to Shaw, cuts it back inside, and he's not gonna get there. Maybe to about the 2. Maffey over there, Brum again as well, among others. A couple of yards for Shaw. And a timeout taken by Lincoln, showing you the importance of this play. We're only midway through the 3rd quarter, but Jim Rubiales wants to talk this one over. And if he's taking a timeout, that probably means they're going for it. Down by 4. I know in one regard you say, well, the field goal doesn't do you any good. You're still down by 1, but it's early, and I'm sure that's the quandary that Jim Rubiales is dealing with. But if he takes the timeout here, I'm guessing that means he's going to go for it. The line of scrimmage is the 2, maybe the 2.5, probably to be fair. So it's not like you can go with the quarterback sneak or anything like that. Nelson's a little bigger than Shaw. He's 6'1", 195. Shaw 5'11", 195. But you're looking at a sophomore compared to a senior. Or do you have Post throw it? He's missed on his last 6, but he could roll out, maybe have the run-pass option, as this is a critical play, though it's early in the second half, but a critical play in this ball game, as Lincoln's trying to cash in on the interception here in the Comcast SJTV Sports High School Football Game of the Week, our 123rd high school football game since 1997. So here we go on 4th and goal at about the 2.5. Fans bouncing the bleachers. Dials is wide to the left. Shaw and Nelson split in the backfield. Play action by Post. Looking over the middle. Dials can't hold it. It's incomplete. And so on downs, it goes over to St. Mary's. Dials was open. There was traffic for sure, but he could not hold it. And so it was play action, a good call. Post had time. Dials started wide to the left, came over the back of the end zone. Good delivery by Post. I mean, it wasn't right in the breadbasket, but Dials will probably tell you they should have had it. So no points there for Lincoln. They still trail 13-9. Plenty of time to go, but a key play in this contest, no doubt. There's Jim Rubiales all the way to the left. Reggie Camp, the second from the right. Larry Hintz all the way to the right. And then the second from the left, Jim Hall. Those guys, with the exception of Reggie Camp, have been together for a long time. And so St. Mary's, they're taking the time out. Makes you wonder what the situation was. Weren't organized coming off the sideline. There's the Lincoln huddle. Want to look at some of the other games throughout the area tonight and tomorrow, as this is rivalry week now. Of course, as the rivals were split, this is year 2 of the SJA and the TCAL, so all the rivalry games are tonight with the exception of West and Tracy. That was a week 1 game, but homecoming Edison, that's their first home game of the year, and this is week number 4. You have Tokay and Lodi at the Great Bowl. Bear Creek and Stagg, that's homecoming at Stagg Stadium on the UOP campus. West is at Johansson. Next week they're at Granite Bay after they've already played Monte Vista and Valley Christian. Downey is at Tracy, Downey and Modesto. Chavez and McNair tomorrow. And then VOL play starting tonight with Ceres at Manteca. Manteca 3-0, number 1 team according to Stockton record. Western Ranch at Oakdale. Last year, they ended Oakdale's 23-game VOL winning streak. East Union at Sonora. Sierra at Central Valley, the new school from Ceres. And Linden 3-0 at Hillmar, who's 3-0. If Linden wins, they could be playing a 4-0 Escalon team next week at home. Here we go on 1st and 10. And is that a safety? Let's see the forward progress for Martin. It looks like they may give him the 1. Cox credited with the tackle. Martin, though, just got the ball out of the end zone. Otherwise, that's a safety. And so a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12. The ball is on about the half-yard line. Rams haven't been able to get Doug Martin going either tonight. 6 carries for him, just 21 yards. Chris Wilson, 6 carries for 44. Murdaka thrown out of the end zone. Looking deep to Asiji. Asiji has it at midfield. There was a little underthrown, so he had to wait up for it. There is a flag, though, back near the goal line. If it stands, it's about a 50-yard play. But let's wait and see. And it's against Lincoln, so it will stand. I believe roughing the passer is going to be the call. So 50 yards to Asiji. Murdaka had missed on 8 of his last 9, including the interception.
We have a personal foul, roughing the passer. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's added to the end of the run, 1st down.
So that in essence becomes a 65-yard play. Asiji, his 2nd catch for 60 yards now. Watch it again, Murdaka. There is the hit, well, the beginning of the hit. And letting it fly for Asiji. Just underthrew him a bit, but heck, you can't ask for much more. And Asiji, pretty nice catch there as well. So 1st and 10, up at the 35 for St. Mary's. They're on the move, leading by 4, 13-9. Martin looking for an opening. No hole there. Kamaya Peely, Cox, and also Guerrero. A loss of 1 by Martin. $14 for 25 now for Pete Murdaka. He's gone over the 200-yard mark at 2:02, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. 2nd down and 11. Wilson went in motion. Zanini a little behind him. Curley was close as Murdaka had to hurry that throw just a bit. That was pass attempt number 26 already, and we still have 4:10 to go in the 3rd. It's almost a certainty that Murdaka is going to throw 40 times in this game. And for the season, he's better than 100 attempts now through 3.5 games. Against Jesuit, 10 for 16, 14 for 36 against Central, 18 for 39 last week against St. Francis. 3rd and 11 at the 36 for St. Mary's of Lincoln. Murdaka over the middle, crossing pattern. Chris Wilson inside the 10, 5, touchdown St. Mary's, 36 yards. Well, Murdocca has completed 2 passes here in the second half. One went for 50 to Asiji. That one there, 36 on a 3rd and 11 to Wilson. And Wilson, his 4th touchdown. He scored 1 in every game this year. Now 15 of 27 for Murdocca, 238 yards, his 2nd touchdown. That one comes with exactly 4 minutes remaining in the 3rd. And that's a 97.5-yard drive by St. Mary's. Remember, they almost had a safety on their first offensive play. Here's Murdocca for the point after. It's good, 20-9 St. Mary's. After 2 big plays, Pete Murdocca first to Brian Asiji, and then Wilson here over the middle. And when he makes the catch in space, nobody's going to be able to catch up to him. Turns it upfield by then. He is long gone. That's Wilson's first reception of the game. 6th different receiver that Murdocca has completed a pass to. And that's the thing, in talking with Tony Franks this week, 5 turnovers last week in the loss to St. Francis, including the pick that was returned for a score. 5 the week before against Central, including 2 picks that returned for scores. And he said, well, that's kind of how our offense is. It's high risk. We turn it over sometimes. Of course, we wish we wouldn't. But then there's the reward right there, the bomb to Asiji and the touchdown to Wilson. 20-9 St. Mary's, opening up the largest lead in the game. And Murdocca on the sideline, so he threw the pick the last time. This time, 2 bombs, the second of which goes for a touchdown. Certainly one of the best quarterbacks around. 6 touchdowns on the season now for Murdocca. Last year as a junior, 15 touchdowns and 12 picks. Copper Visa, a short kick. Demarie Nelson on a bounce at the 17. Nelson up the sideline a bit as he gets to the 30. Zanini there on special teams, also collects Scanoni as well. So Lincoln down by 11. 3:55 to go on the 3rd. Line of scrimmage is the 30. The Trojans, remember, they went for it on 4th down, 4th and goal from about the 2.5. Dials looked like he was going to make the catch, couldn't hold it, and St. Mary's turns around and goes 97.5 yards in 5 plays in just a minute and a half of time. Nelson broke 1 tackle and still going. Look at Demarie Nelson motor on up to about the 45. Looked like he was going to go down after the 2nd hit. And it doesn't matter what number he's wearing, whether it be 2 or 94, he's getting the job done. They're actually going to spot him back at the 42. And not many people break a tackle of Sam Maffey. He broke 2 tackles. Nice job. And then Copper Visa and Brum have to tag up there. But Nelson got 12 on his 11th carry for 44 yards. 1st and 10. Rob Post out of the shotgun. Fires. Marcus Jose bounces off 1 tackle. Jose kept his footing for a moment, but then he is forced to the ground by Pat Jimmerigby. But inside the 45 of St. Mary's to about the 44. A gain of 14. And that stops a stretch of 7 straight incompletions by Post. Jose had that long reception in the first half, waved off by penalty. 3 for 10 for Rob Post now. 61 yards. Coming in, Post was 4 for 19. Did throw a touchdown to Anthony Dials, though, in the game against Franklin of Elk Grove. And a lot of times when Lincoln's throwing the ball, they put Post in the shotgun, maybe give him a little more time. And there's a player down near the St. Mary's sideline. It's a Ram. Can't quite make out the number. As the Trojans are looking on. Yeah, it's hard to tell who the player is, certainly, as it's right on the sideline. Now he's being helped to his feet, and it's Joe Brum. Little hobbled. Brum, of course, a key player for the Rams on both sides of the ball. He, Nisby, among the only two-way guys. Also, Chris Wilson plays a lot of offense and defense for the Rams. Both teams, in fact, try not to have too many guys go on both sides of the ball for obvious reasons. Lincoln at the 44 of St. Mary's, trailing by 11, but have picked up a couple of first downs, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air, and they'll go from the shotgun again with 4 receivers. They look like St. Mary's. Post stepping up, looking to Shaw. Curtis Shaw, was his foot in bounds? And the officials, let's see, what are they ruling here? I think they're saying it's incomplete. So Shaw was in that pattern. Had he been in bounds, it would have been inside the 5. Post again displaying a nice arm. No doubt he has the physical attributes to be an outstanding quarterback. And so we haven't seen Danny Enright tonight. Of course, his older brother Barry Enright, a former standout here at St. Mary's, led the team in 03 to the section semifinals before falling to Edison. And Danny at Lincoln, but has not played tonight after splitting time with Rob Post. On 2nd and 10. Post to an open Dials, and he can't hold it again. Wilson in coverage, but Dials would have had the ball inside the 10. And he's not too happy about it, but 2 key plays, the 4th and goal, and then there a ball that would have brought it inside the 10 for Lincoln. Dials just a junior. Post has thrown a couple of good balls here, and nothing to show for it for Lincoln. Shaw was out of bounds, and then Dials couldn't hold it. We mentioned the runs of these 2 schools over the last 6 years, 3 semifinals each and a section title. You look even as far as playoff appearances, 27 playoff appearances by SJAA TCAL teams in the last 9 years. Half of those, better than half, 14 of the 27 going to Lincoln or St. Mary's, another 5 to Franklin. They were 3rd. 3rd and 10. Post turning. Almost picked off. Great read on that ball by Wilson as he exploded. Mark Scott, the intended receiver. Wilson, though, almost had a pick. And so after first downs on back-to-back plays, 3 straight incompletions for Lincoln, and Post now just 3 for 13. It'll bring up a punting situation. And what could have been for Lincoln, not only on the 4th and goal on their last series, but then the long ball, the Dials here. They're still just down by 11, but they're going to give the ball back to the potent St. Mary's offense. Post with the good punt can maybe pin him deep. Zanini, the return man for St. Mary's. Good high kick again. Post has done a great job punting. At about the 12 for Zach Zanini. Turning it upfield, and Curley got a good lick on him. Also looked like Mark Scott over there. The return just shy of the 25 for Zach Zanini. Zanini, 4 catches tonight, had 4 last week, giving him 10 for the year. His brother Alex is a senior, 35 catches, 900 yards, 10 touchdowns. Of course, 2 touchdowns in that section championship game, including the clincher, but he also had a deep reception late in the first half that led to a key touchdown. Tony Franks called it maybe the biggest catch in school history. The only section championship for St. Mary's. Wilson running to the left before he's upended. Just across the 30, Stuckey bringing him down. A gain of close to 6, 2nd and 4 upcoming. St. Mary's has really split it between Wilson and Martin. 7th carry there for Wilson on the ground. Martin the same, 7 carries. Now 50 yards for Wilson, but of course he had that 36-yard touchdown reception on the last series for St. Mary's. 2nd down and 4, just across the 30. Martin this time trying to bounce off the tackle. Then he's driven down hard by John Solis. Solis up from the safety position. It's a Lincoln defense and a team that's very young. We talked about it earlier. More than half their roster, in fact, about 2/3 of their roster, juniors or sophomores. That was enough for a first down by Martin. The returning guys, Cox, Kelly, and Stuckey, all the linebackers, that's where most of the experience is, and also Stuart Burnett. And then Johnny Curley, the experienced guys on defense. Breaker did play last year as well at a corner. Everybody else, especially the D-line, is young. That ball's on the ground, still loose. After the toss never got to Martin. Lincoln saying they have it. Let's see as they unpile. The ball was on the ground for an awfully long time. And it's Junior Fagbamila who ends up with the recovery for St. Mary's. The 3rd time the Rams have fumbled tonight, they've ended up retaining all of them. The ball went off of Martin, and you see Guerrero had a beat on it, but then it took a weird bounce away from him. And let's see if where 77 comes in at. Martin couldn't have it there, and Fegba Mila, one of the biggest guys on the field, maybe just out-toughed everybody. But the third fumble, and St. Mary's has lost none of them, kind of reversing an earlier trend. You look at their last 3 losses, 5 turnovers against St. Francis, 5 against Central, and last year the season ender, 6 against West. Martin on second down. Back to maybe the line of scrimmage. Kelly and Kamaya Peely. So it brings up third down and 7. Third and 7. What a break that would have been for Lincoln had they come up with the fumble. But they do not, though they can get a stop here on 3rd and 7. The ball's at about the 38, final minute of the third quarter. James Patterson, the intended receiver, a flag comes in late. Flemons maybe was there early. Last week, Lincoln was victimized by a couple of key penalties, one that wiped out an interception return for a score by Flemons. Let's see, though, James Patterson was the intended receiver. And it is interference against Lincoln, so on a 3rd and 7. Big penalty there against the Trojans. And it'll be a first down for the Rams.
We have defensive pass interference. That's a 15-yard penalty, results in a first down.
So we haven't seen Murdaka until that attempt there, throw a pass on this drive. Let's see, it was close. It was close, might have been simultaneous. But the officials rule early, and so the pass interference. From the 46, 1st and 10. Wilson trying to get to the outside and utilize that speed. Had Patterson and Martin blocking for him. Breaker making the play. A gain of 5, 2nd and 5. So St. Mary's really distributing the runs between Wilson and Martin. In fact, having both of them on the field a lot of the time. Still going out of the shotgun, but having 2 backs in the backfield for much of the game. And so that concludes the 3rd quarter of play here at the Thompson Sports Complex. It was 13-9 St. Mary's at the break. The Rams get the only points of the 3rd on the touchdown reception by Chris Wilson of 36 yards. And so it is 20-9 Rams as we head to the 4th here on the Comcast SJTV Sports High School Football Game of the Week. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and thank our friends over at Eric's New York Style Pizza again for providing pizza to our crew. And they are a hungry bunch. They're located at 4118 North Eldorado Street in Stockton. Their number is 463-6339, 463-6339. So as I mentioned, Lincoln and St. Mary's have been on SJTV more than anybody else. A lot of that playoff appearances, certainly, and good play. You look at Lincoln, they are 23 and 13 all-time on SJTV. By far the most appearances, 36 in total. St. Mary's has made 28 appearances on SJTV. They are 16 and 12 all-time. We try to get everybody on, and certainly we do, and we have done so since '97, but those are at the top of the list, and you see Franklin, Tokay, Manteca, and you could argue those have been the most successful teams over the last decade or so. And again, we're going to attempt to get everybody on this year, although Chavez and McNair may have to wait until next year when they have seniors. 2nd down and 5 as we start the 4th quarter. Might have been a deflection. Asiji, though, has a first down, picks up about 7. Breaker wraps him up pretty quickly. And wow, they're actually spotting him short of the first down. It looked like he had it by 2 yards. Might have missed that one, but I spoke too soon, although I think the officials, they've been very good tonight, but I think they probably missed that one. So it's 3rd and a yard. Let's watch it again, but it sure looked like it was more than enough. There's a CJ. It's a tough angle, but I mean, he's about 2 yards beyond the first down marker. He gets driven back, but you got to give him forward progress. And so it's 3rd and less than a yard. Murdaka keeping, and he got it. Willie Tuitama used to do that so well for the Rams back in '04 with his great size. Just keep it on a short yardage situation and almost always pick up the first down. The same often happens this year for St. Mary's with Pete Murdaka. The home team is yet to win on SJTV this season here in week number 4. Rams trying to break that trend, leading 20-9, up by 11. If they get another score here, might be insurmountable for the Trojans as we're now in the 4th quarter. St. Mary's might just try to go to work on the ground and eat some time up. Martin for just a couple. Francisco Rodriguez plugging the hole defensively there. As we're now a minute in to the 4th. A gain of, shall we say, 2, maybe a yard and a half. 2nd and 8 upcoming as Martin hasn't been able to get many big runs tonight. Really all the way around, the running game hasn't gotten going for either team. And we've had some of the most talented backs in the area here tonight. 2nd down, too tall for Wilson. Coverage from Solis has been very active. Some pressure applied on Murdaka by Tim Guerrero among others. Murdaka now 16 for 29, 242 yards. Mentioned having some of the most talented backs in the area. You got to also think of guys like Solomon Martin from Franklin, last year better than 1,600 yards, had that 379-yard, 7-touchdown game against Tracy. Andre Patterson from Manteca, who was huge in the playoffs for the Buffaloes last year. Also, he already has 8 touchdowns this year, speaking of Patterson. Then Jordan Whitley, the junior for Lodi, better than 500 yards. And J.D. Sneed approaching 500 for East Union this year. 3rd and long. Pump by Murdaka. Completion to Wilson. Chris Wilson inside the 20 to the 19. A 15-yard reception. So Chris Wilson is getting it done on the receiving end, has the 36-yard touchdown, and there on 3rd and long picks up 15 after Murdaka gave it the pump, and then Wilson finding the seam. The 30th attempt by Murdaka, up to 257 yards, has thrown 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. 1st and 10 Rams trying to salt it away from the 20. It's Wilson, drilled at about the 15. Stuckey and Stuart Burnett. Rams have had the ball for a long time here in the 2nd half. Maybe the Lincoln defense starting to tire just a bit. 2nd and 5 upcoming after the 5-yard gain. Clock the enemy of the Trojans. An 11-point game. If St. Mary's can at least get a field goal out of this, they'll go up by 14. Doug Martin, he'll try the left side. Has a lot of open room. Martin cuts back inside, just shy of the goal line as he gets to the 1. A pickup of about 13 by Doug Martin. Martin had all kinds of room to the left side, made a nice cut there inside the 10. And a touchdown saving tackle there as he gets to the 1, where it is 1st and goal, maybe at the 2, to be fair. But could put this one out of reach if St. Mary's can punch it in. Will Murdaka keep? He does. And he scores. 2nd touchdown for Murdaka. He's thrown 2 and he has scored 2. And with 8:46 to go in the 4th, that might do it. Now 26-9 in favor of St. Mary's as the Rams are trying to beat Lincoln for the 3rd time in their last 4 matchups. Murdaka on for the point after. But Murdaka's had a hand in all 4 touchdowns for St. Mary's. And trying to kick his 3rd successful point after he does so. 27-9 St. Mary's. Murdaka has scored 15 points, 15 of the 27, single-handedly outscoring Lincoln. And now an 18-point lead. Lincoln gonna need 3 scores to come back. Certainly are capable. There's no doubt this Lincoln team is very talented, even if they fall to 1-3 here. And it's very similar. If you look at St. Mary's a year ago, the Rams were 0-4, but they won 6 of their final 9 games with a very young team, a lot of juniors and sophomores in key positions, and of course got to the section semifinals against West. I talked with Mike Byerly before the game, the head coach of the Trojans a year ago. In fact, Mike Byerly went 41-9 over his 4 years as head coach, and he said the Lincoln team this year reminds him of St. Mary's a year ago. Exhibition game or preseason games are very important. You still want to win them, but the playoffs are determined by what you do in league play, and that's something the Lincoln players are going to have to keep in the back of their mind. Another short kick by Copperviza. Return from the 25 by Cox, and Cox does a nice job to get up to about the 42. But only 8:40 to go in this contest, 27-9. St. Mary's on top. But remember again, playoffs is what determines who gets into the postseason. There's 2 berths in the SJAA, 2 in the TCAL. Last year it was Lincoln and Lodi from the SJAA, TCAL, St. Mary's, and West. There is the 3-way tie in the SJAA, but this year there's a 13-point rule to determine, without having the coin toss, who goes to the postseason. Post is going to have to throw a lot. Hooks up there with Mark Scott. Won't be a first down. The clock will continue to move. Up near the 48, a pickup of 6. But a chance for Lincoln to go with the hurry-up offense. And maybe some experience down the road, certainly for Post. And he could be a 3-year starter here just as a sophomore. Traditionally, Lincoln, with running quarterbacks, guys like Brian Kornick, although Ryan Schreppel certainly in that section championship year threw the ball quite a bit. Post has the capability of throwing it deep, brings a new dimension to this offense. Hooks up this time with Shaw. That's a first down, and then Shaw gets out of bounds as well near the 42, a pickup of 11. Back-to-back completions by Post, who looks comfortable out of the shotgun. Now 5 for 14. Post came in just 4 for 19, so has thrown almost as many passes as he has in the first 3 games here tonight. Lincoln in their opener only completed 1 pass. Their second game, 5 passes. Last week, no passes were complete. 5 here tonight. All by Post, who's played the whole game at quarterback. 1st and 10. Post over the middle. That's picked off by Pat Jimmerigby around the 35. Jimmerigby near midfield on the return. 2nd straight week with an interception for Pat Jimmerigby. Just a situation where Post tried to force it in to Breaker, and Jimmerigby was there to pick it off. And then had the return as well. 4th interception thrown by Rob Post this year, just when it looked like he had things going. And for Lincoln, they've gone punt, turned it over on downs inside the 3, punt, and interception here in the second half. They led this game at one point 9-6. St. Mary's going to do a lot of running here, try and work the clock down, leading by 18. Doug Martin was tackled by Dominic Kelly, a loss of 3. So St. Mary's is going to have a week off. They do not have a game next week. Then they'll start in league play in 2 weeks back here at home. So for their first 5 games at home, it'll be homecoming against Stagg on the 13th of October. Then 3 straight road games at McNair, Tokay, and Edison. While Lincoln gets McNair at home next week, then they open league play in 2 weeks at Spano Stadium again against Franklin, a game you'll see on SJTV. 2nd down and long. Chris Wilson, the ball carrier this time. Got a block from Martin. Wilson spinning, was tripped up by Solis. Gets to the 44. Picks up about 9, does Wilson. 3rd down and close to 4 upcoming. Nisby also blocking, the 3-year starter for St. Mary's. Mentioned his dad, John, a former Pro Bowler in the NFL. So St. Mary's offensively back near 400 yards here tonight as well as CG. If he's able to break that tackle, he picks up another 15, 20 yards, but he picks up a 1st down, which is all that matters before he's tackled. Needed 4, got maybe 7. As CG had that 50-yard reception on the 97.5-yard drive by St. Mary's that put the Rams up by 11 with 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. Now 18 for 31 by Pete Murdaka, 264 yards. Thought he was going to get to 40 pass attempts, but the Rams took the lead and certainly have gone to the ground game as you would expect. So haven't needed to throw as much here in the 4th quarter. Martin stumbled. There's a flag as well. Certainly St. Mary's has to be thinking ball security now. Don't want to turn it over. Stuckey another tackle. This is against St. Mary's.
Shift on the offense. When the man reshifted, he did not set for a full second. However, that penalty is declined. 2nd down.
So there's the explanation from David Hirsch. It's going to be 2nd and about 11. Is that Chris Wilson there being attended to? And that is Wilson. So James Patterson in the game for St. Mary's. Pass in his direction. Patterson holds on, then keeps his footing to pick up a few more yards. Looks like he's going to get 7, maybe 8. 19 for 32 now for Murdaka, better than 270 yards. He had 341 through the air against Central, so still a ways to go to get there. 3rd down and 4 upcoming after the catch by Patterson. Lincoln led 3-0 and 9-6. But since then, 21 unanswered by St. Mary's after St. Mary's had 20 unanswered scored against them last week. Don't forget, you can see this game on demand. It's free if you go to the Get Local section, then sports and high school football. It'll be there starting late Monday afternoon. Flag here before this one gets started. Delay a game, looks like, against the Rams, so they've been a bit careless here.
Delay a game on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Back to 3rd and 8, maybe 9. We'll say 9 as we had it 3rd and 4 before the 5-yard penalty. So St. Mary's looks like they're going to improve to 2-2, and they probably wonder what if last week or even against Central the week before, but Tony Franks said you can't look in the rear view mirror, and he hasn't. He's looked forward and probably going to feel pretty good about himself and his team after this one. Murdaka to an open Zanini. Inside the 15, out at about the 12. That's a 25-yard hookup. 5th reception by Zach Zanini. And so the 3rd long is converted by St. Mary's. Now 296 yards for Murdaka, so he may get to 300 for the 2nd time this year. And he needed 239 to get to 1,000 for the season. He's done that and surpassed 1,000. And we've only played 4 games. Last year, Murdaka threw for 1925. 1st and 10 at the 12 for the Rams. Nearing 4 minutes to go in our contest. Doug Martin can't find that hole. Tripped up by Breaker. Gets to about the 9, so 3 yards there. You go back to the 04 season of Willie Tuitama. That year, 32 touchdowns, 7 picks. Now, Murdocka's already thrown 5 this year. But the yardage, 2,734. Murdocka has a good chance to get to that number if the Rams go for a while in the playoffs. Barry Enright in 03 threw for 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 picks. And Tui Tama, as a junior number 2 guy, threw for over 1,000 that year. So combined, they're at 2,630 touchdowns. Some explosive offenses put together by Doug Koresko over the last few years for the Rams. That's against St. Mary's. Far too many penalties for the Rams here in the 4th. You look at St. Mary's under Tony Franks here in his second tour. In 02, they went
foul on the
6 and
offense.
5.
A false start. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
In 02, they lost in the first round to Merced. In 03, went to the semifinals, lost that heartbreaker by a point to Edison. 04, won the section title. Their only loss was by a point to Jesuit. They were 13-1. Last year went 6-7 after the 0-4 start and got to the section semifinals, losing to West. Second down, there's Capravisa, touchdown. 3rd touchdown thrown by Murdocka, and the first of his varsity career for Nick Capravisa, his 2nd catch of the year. That one coming from 15 yards out. And so Murdocka, 21 for 34, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, and he has run for 2. Not sure if you can play a much better game than that. And Murdocka on for the point after as well. Murdocka has completed 8 of his last 10, 2 of which have gone for touchdowns, and he is now 4 for 5 on point afters. Pete Murdocka night at the Thompson Sports Complex. 34-9. As Capravisa able to get inside the defender and score. Hard to believe, it seems like so long ago it was 9-6 Lincoln, and there's Tony Franks and Doug Koresko, the offensive coordinator, talking with Pete Murdocka, and they have to feel awfully good about the way their offense has performed, especially here in the second half, scoring 21 unanswered in the second half and 28 unanswered in the game. So you look ahead for both these teams. St. Mary's has kind of righted the ship, 2-2 after a very difficult non-conference schedule. I'm sure they'd love to be 3-1 and have last week back, but they cannot. May have implications down the road as far as playing in a state championship game, and that still probably is a possibility for St. Mary's. Many of the Lincoln fans starting to depart now as it is all but over. Lincoln, yes, they will fall to 1-3, but they're a very young team. They get McNair next week, and McNair has been outscored 190-0 in their first 3 games. They have Chavez tomorrow. Chavez also 0-3, both first-year schools. But then Lincoln will get into league play, and they're going to have a showdown in their first 2 weeks, Franklin and then Lodi, and that will determine their fate for the rest of the season. Cox on the short kick, bobbles it. He picks it back up, and Cox is stopped at about the 30. Scott Sylvia there for the Rams. But such a great rivalry, now a non-league rivalry, and these are the marquee programs in the area. I mentioned the section championship in 2000 for Lincoln and 04 for St. Mary's, the only 2 won by teams from the city of Stockton. That senior class for Lincoln that finished up in 01 with the semifinal loss went 43-3-1. St. Mary's senior class that ended with a section championship in 04, they went 42-5. Amazing symmetry there. Post to Dials. Dials at the 45. Dials inside the 40. Anthony Dials at the 25 before he is brought down. A gain of about 47. So Dials, now he's a little shaken up as well. Now 6 for 16 for Rob Post, just over the linebacker Maffey, and then Dials had gotten free. And you wonder how maybe this game would have been different had Lincoln been able to convert that 4th and goal inside the 3 when they were trailing 13-9. They didn't, and then St. Mary's went almost 98 yards, went up 20-9, and then never really looked back. Short gain there on first down. 2nd and 7 with under 2.5 to go. Post, looking at Dials in the end zone, a little wide, and it falls incomplete and will bring up a 3rd down. So Post, that's his 17th pass attempt for the season coming in, and Dials a little shaken up. Post had thrown 19 passes. In fact, Lincoln as a team had only thrown 28 passes coming in. That was their 17th attempt tonight. Maybe cramps for Dials. He's been running all over the field tonight. There's some fireworks going off in the distance. I wish I knew why. It is Stag's homecoming. That might be over towards Stag Stadium at UOP, but Dials being attended to. 34-9 our score. Lincoln led, though, 9-6 in the first half. There are the fireworks. I'll take a guess and say that's at Stag Stadium. I remember being at Stag Stadium a year ago, and there are fireworks here at St. Mary's for their homecoming, which will come against Stag in 2 weeks. The Rams have the bye. Next week, I'm guessing Tony Franks might give the guys a day or two off, and then we'll have a week of practice without a game. Maybe they'll go watch somebody play next Friday. Third down and about 8. Post. Jimmy Rigby almost had his second pick of the night as he stepped in front of that route by Breaker. It falls incomplete and brings up a 4th down with just 2:09 to go in this contest. Pat Jimmy Rigby's so athletic at 6'4" with those long arms. He looks even taller. Heck, he may be growing by the day. He's just a junior. Fourth down and 8. Line of scrimmage, the 21 for the Trojans. Post looking to Shaw in the end zone. Shaw cannot hold it. It goes incomplete and over on downs. It goes to St. Mary's. Shaw had a step, but couldn't catch up to it. And so St. Mary's will have it for maybe a final time. And Curtis Shaw certainly couldn't get it going on the ground. Have to give a lot of credit to the St. Mary's defense for that. And you have to remember that most teams are keen on Shaw until they can get the passing game going. They did a little bit with Rob Post. And we'll see maybe if he becomes the regular starter, as Danny Enright did not play tonight after rotating with Post through the first 3 games of the season. And Cody Vaz in at quarterback now, replacing Murdaka, and Doug Martin carries it for a gain of about 4. But what a night for Pete Murdaka, as Kelly mixing things up with George Ramirez. But Murdaka, 21 of 34, 311 yards. Of course, these are all unofficial. Trying to talk and write at the same time. 3 touchdowns, passing, also ran for 2, kicked 4 point afters as well, and completed 8 of his final 10 passes. That's the Pete Murdaka most people expected and will probably propel him throughout the rest of the season, I would think. 2nd and 6. James Patterson gets a carry there. He had a key fumble recovery earlier in this game. The Rams fumbled 3 times but did not lose any of them. So St. Mary's will move to 2-2. Lincoln fall to 1-3. And who knows when the last time the Trojans were 1-3. Probably back in '99 when they went 4-6. That was the last time they did not get in the playoffs. That was the year before the section championship. On third down, Vaz lost the handle. Let's see if it's ruled a fumble or an incompletion. I think it's ruled a fumble. Yes, and it's recovered by Lincoln as well. Might have been David Harry on the recovery. 34 seconds to go. Yeah, just lost the handle, did Vaz. And so Lincoln next week gets McNair, who has really struggled in their first year as a program. But then the two biggies to start SJA, play at home against Franklin and at Lodi. Those were the tri-champions last year, along with Lincoln. Nelson on the first down carry. And a timeout taken by Lincoln. They have 2 left, maybe going to use them all up. They don't carry over to next week. 28.6 seconds to go. Still a lot of big games upcoming. Manteca in action tonight. They've won 10 in a row. Taking on Ceres as Ceres returns to the VOL. That's the opener for both of those teams. Manteca still has Sonora and Oakdale in back-to-back weeks, week 6 and week 7. We'll see the Buffaloes down the road. They're ranked number 4 in the state, Division III, according to Cal High Sports. And I saw Mark Tinnis along the sideline taking this one in. Maybe a showdown with Colfax down the road in the section championship game again. There's Shaw. That's a touchdown from Rob Post, 25 yards. So Post throws his second touchdown of the year, and that's probably why Jim Rubiales took the timeout. He knows his team's going to lose the game, but that's more confidence certainly for Rob Post on his 20th pass attempt. A touchdown to Curtis Shaw. Shaw's 7th touchdown of the season. And so it's 34-15. And Post is on to try the point after. But Manteca losing to Colfax in that controversial section final back in 2002, then beat them the next year by a point in the postseason. And of course, Manteca defending section champions Division III. Post got the PAT after missing his earlier point after. 34-16. That stops the 28-0 run by St. Mary's. Shaw's been offered scholarships by many schools, including Michigan. Of course, DeWitt Stuckey and Matt Meyer, juniors for Lincoln, highly recruited. Then you look on the other side for St. Mary's, Murdaka, Nisby, Doug Martin. Doug Martin's been offered by Boise State. And then the younger guys for St. Mary's as well, Jerome Sorrell, certainly with a bright future as a junior. Wilson, the junior. Sam Mafia, junior as well. And while you look ahead to next season, I mean, Lincoln is going to have Post as a junior, Enright as a senior, Demarie Nelson as a junior. A lot of their guys will be back. St. Mary's, they're going to lose key guys in Martin, certainly in Murdaka, but they'll still have guys like Sorrell, Maffey, Chris Wilson, maybe Cody Vaz will be the quarterback. And the Ram fans that are still here, some of them have even departed, especially the students that are still here, enjoying this one as it's probably the best rivalry around. Although Manteca-Sonora got a little heated a year ago with the regular season game and the section final. It'll be very interesting again this year as Manteca will have to go up the hill for a second straight year, but they'll get Oakdale at home on their homecoming in week number 7. Squibber, Cozina, nice job as he goes straight to the ground. That's well played. With 20.9 seconds to go, probably just one snap left for St. Mary's before they can put it in the books. Still a lot of football to go. League hasn't even started. Of course, only 5 league games in the TCAL and the SJAA. 6 teams playing all once, all the opposition once, and you get your 5 league games. Last year, there's only 4 without McNair and Chavez. But that's what determines if you're in the postseason or not your overall mark. So non-league games, while they're important, do not matter nearly as much as your league games. So Vaz going under center, gonna take the knee, and the time is winding down. So a win in the rivalry game for St. Mary's. They've beaten Lincoln now 3 out of the last 4 times the teams have matched up. 34-16, the victory. Pete Murdoka throws 3 touchdowns, runs for 2, throws for better than 300 yards. You won't see us next week. We're taking the 6th of October off. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Franklin and Lincoln in the opener in SJAA play. We could see St. Mary's again on SJTV at the end of the regular season against West in what could be a T-Cal showdown. For our entire crew, Jeff Fry, Andres Morado, Nicole Ferran, Maurice Patterson, Demetrius Snayer, Sean Schrock, Adam Cheshire, and Michael January, I'm Eric Alves. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check this game out on demand starting Monday afternoon, and also watch the playbacks throughout the weekend on Comcast SJTV. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. The Rams win 34-16.
This program was a presentation of Comcast's SJTV. San Joaquin Television. SJTV.
This program is available on Comcast Digital Cable On Demand. Go to Channel 1, then the Get Local menu to see this program free.